And welcome back to the IWAR Network Tubecast. I'm your host, Alex G. And with me this evening, we have BRL, NWO, and IWAR Commissioner Matt Riley. We have IWL contributor Luke Martin, and our special guest for this evening, straight from the NWO, we have Mike Miles. What's going on, gentlemen?
Living the dream.
It is the night of anger, so things are going great.
I know Matt's having technical difficulties. We had technical difficulties earlier. It's nice, technology. I love it, right?
Did you say technical or testicle?
Both.
Oh, don't sit down too fast.
Oh. That's the worst.
I'm over 40. It happens all the time.
Well, again, this will be the summer 2020 cycle in review, and we're going to start off with the IWL. Independent Wrestling League number 125. League champion, Friend Zone, Frederick Goodfellow. Television champion, Justin Grace. New York City champion, the main event, Dylan Matthews. Los Angeles champion, the American Savage, Buddy Donner. Boston champion, Shotgun James Carnage. Detroit champion, Prince Tunn. Cleveland champion, Alexander J. Styles. Dallas champion, The Dream, Ali Atari. Memphis champion, Lee Cyclops. Miami champion, Joe Boring. San Francisco champion, the American Savage, Hank Henkel. Chicago champion, Chase Grace. Tag team champions, the American Savages, Buddy Donner and Hank Henkel. TV tag team champions, the Magnificent Marvin Moyer and Pop Culture Pete. Six-man champions winning 5 free matches. Pigeon Boy, Quailman, and Lee Cyclops. TV six-man champions, Primetime, Alex Styles. Main event, Dylan Matthews and Triple X Extreme, Xavier Jimenez. And your Battle Royal winner, winning 35 free IWL matches, The Dream, Ali Atari. So, Alex G, what's going down in the IWL? Well, guys, we're coming off our latest pay-per-view, Wrestle Riot. I think the guys did a fantastic job getting these match write-ups to me, so I appreciate that, guys. I think this is one of the best pay-per-views we have done, period. I think the stories flowed together nicely. We're telling a cohesive narrative throughout the entire process. So, guys, I appreciate everyone who sent me matches. And just a little peek behind the curtain, and a lot of people have been asking me, hey, how do you put together these pay-per-views? And it's really, really simple, guys. I have these guys send me their match write-ups. So I don't do all the match write-ups. I do a few matches. I do threaten you with violence, and I like to get those early so I can set it up the right way. And I slot the matches in where I think they're appropriate on the match cards. And for those people who don't send me match write-ups, their matches are essentially darks. So they happen, they exist, but they're not on the show. Again, I thought it was really cohesive. I think it was a really great narrative throughout the entire pay-per-view. I do want to talk about the aftermath, because there's a couple points I want to make about why I did my TT at the end of the pay-per-view instead of having it separate. And for those of you who are interested in kind of honing their crafts in terms of TT, I want to go through this kind of point by point, for you guys to understand the mindset of what I was trying to do, what I was trying to accomplish, and for you guys to kind of learn from this, especially those players in the NWL or people who are interested in improving their overall trash talk. So Revolution Extreme overall did not have a good evening at the pay-per-view. They lost the majority of their matches, unfortunately. So as a heel, and RX is a heel stable, to me, winning and losing doesn't necessarily matter that much. I'm a bad guy, so bad guys lose, right? I'm a big proponent of that the heels have to lose, right? I don't make them lose on purpose, but I don't get really. If I had all baby faces, I would be pissed that I lost. But since I have heels, I'm not angry that I lost, and I have to now get back my heat. So what I did here is I did this little segment taking place right after the pay-per-view. Revolution Extreme is in the locker room, and Luther is having a tirade. He's very upset at the results of the pay-per-view. Right off the bat, he goes over to Neo Dragon. Neo Dragon did win his matches, and now he's the new number one contender for the IWL Undisputed Heavyweight Championship of the World. And Luther walks over and hands him a coupon book to McDonald's, which it's to me it's hilarious because I once had someone give me that as a present one time at work. There's a lady that worked for me, and she gave me that as a present. And I'm looking at this coupon book, and I'm like,
did you hook up with her?
I did not, because she was like 90 years old.
That's a gift that keeps on giving, man.
It is. But the
Here you
reason,
go, Sonny. Here's a milkshake coupon.
so the reason I had Luther hand Dragon this coupon book is that the simple fact of the matter is that Luther Alexander is extremely wealthy. Neo Dragon is extremely wealthy. They have so much money that money loses all its value. So there's no value. I can give Neo $100,000. It ain't gonna make a difference. It's much like if you ever watched the movie Trading Places, where you had the two villains, they're brothers, and they made this whole scheme and they did this whole bet, and it's over $1. It's ridiculous. So it's sort of that concept. Yes. So that's the concept there, and I think that's something Neo Dragon would appreciate. He getting this coupon book to McDonald's.
It'll come in handy.
It does. So again, Dragon kind of shrugs and smiles, and Luther sends up on his way because obviously he's not going to berate Neo because Neo won his matches. Then Luther walks over to Che Guerrero. Now, Che Guerrero is the longest tenured member of Revolution Extreme outside of Luther Alexander. He was there from the beginning. In terms of size and scope, he is the biggest. He's the largest member currently in Revolution Extreme. He walks over and then slaps him completely out of his chair. Soul Train Jones gets up and walks towards Luther, kind of defending his tag team partner. And Luther tells him to sit his punk ass down before he... For those of you who don't know, that Soul Train Jones was incarcerated for a crime he did not commit. And it was Revolution Extreme that got him out of jail, so he has some sort of... he owes them. So Luther kind of runs down Soul Train Jones here and Che Guerrero and basically tells him he has a shot at redemption at the MSG Tag League Tournament. Again, we're promoting the next big tag event, which is the MSG's Tag League, which is ongoing, which actually started this particular cycle. Luther heads over to Tiamat. You know, Tiamat was, I guess, the Iowa Women's Champion. She was at the time.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Yes. He kisses her on the cheek and basically tells her, whatever you need to hold on to the title, we're going to do. And she walks over. Luther walks over to Alexander J. Styles, the youngest member of Revolution Extreme, the newest member, and he whispers to him that between me and you, we're gonna win the MSG Tag League because Luther's teamed up with him. This is where the jokes kind of started coming in here. If you guys read the pay-per-view, you know that Luther has an eye injury essentially. Basically, has his eye poked out of his head. And what's funny here is like he tells Alexander J. Styles is like, you don't think that I have an extra eyeball laying around? I'm rich. Okay? So I get another eye. It's not a big deal. Again, I'm selling the injury here, but I'm telling everyone that, hey, he's going to be okay. He's not going to be blind forever. You want to get that out there because I don't want to have Luther with an eye patch from here on out. So he gets a brand new eye because he's wealthy enough to afford one. At that point, Style leaves. Then he really, really goes after Samantha Soley and Johnny Revolution Sr. He picks up the chair, he chucks it at them. And he's very upset that, with all the run-ins that they had, at this pay-per-view, Empire Chaos, the Return of Noble House, the goddamn Teamsters here, they were basically sleeping at the wheel. They had all their focus on making sure Lucha did not interfere in this pay-per-view, that they kind of left the back door open and all hell broke loose. And we, at this point, we sell Johnny Vegas's basically injury from the pay-per-view. Basically said it'll never be the same ever again. And then he tells Johnny that he wants him to start the Pearl of the Orient initiative. And we'll get more on that in the upcoming cycle. Again, at this point, I'm moving the narrative forward. Now everyone's wondering what this Pearl of the Orient initiative is. And we move on forward from there. At that point, Luther kicks everyone out of the locker room. He's all by himself. He slumps down in the chair, and there's someone knocking the door. Luther tells him to get out. But to Luther's surprise, it's Gary Spivey from the Psychic Friends Network. Now, this is a takeoff on the Paul Orndorff skit in WCW, I believe in 1994, where Mr. Wonderful is all upset that he's been losing matches, and he needs someone to give him back his confidence. And Gary Spivey, who is he's a real guy, and he's really from the Psychics Companion Network, and it's a real thing, comes in and helps Mr. Wonderful. So Luther does this thing where, okay, now he's hanging out with Gary Spivey, and looks like Gary Spivey is going to be a recurring character, so we're moving that narrative forward, and then we move on from there.
Is Gary Spivey Dan Spivey's brother or cousin or anything?
No, I wish he was. That made a better story. If you guys have a chance, Google Gary Spivey, and you'll see how hilarious this is. I also added, because Luther is currently defending his Grand Prix championship with the Chameleon, we have the Chameleon kind of overhearing in the background. He is now dressed up as a custodian, probably to plan some sort of attack on Luther. But he realizes that Luther is upset and he's a mess, and he basically says, he looks at the camera and says that Luther Alexander has lost his mind and he is reaping all the benefits. And that's how we end the show. Show ends there. So again, this is an attempt by me to retain some heat left after getting embarrassed at the pay-per-view, and to move the narrative forward, to move the storyline forward. So we have a brand new character in Gary Spivey. He's been coming in. He's going to be hanging out with Luther. We put over the MSG Tag League tournament that's coming up. Obviously, Neil is going to go off. He's the new number one contender, so we got that going. And we're moving the narrative forward with the Chameleon also moving forward. So again, for those of you that are interested in improving and looking at TT, look at this, kind of break it down. There's a couple of inside jokes in here, which is funny to me and probably me alone, but hey, that's why I write half my stuff. There's always 1,000 Easter eggs in everything I do. Sometimes I'm laughing at this stuff by myself, but sometimes people get it and they laugh along with me. After that, we have the members of the MSG Tag League, the participants going down from 1 to 16. We also had a mystery team, which I was shocked that got bounced out in the first round.
Oops.
I like to do this tournament because I usually bring a team in from the outside. So we brought in a team from the BBL for this particular tournament. It gives it like, hey, everyone can participate in this thing. Is a bigger deal, and it would be interesting to actually have a mystery team actually win this tournament. They haven't. We've done this for 3 years, and no mystery team has made it past the second round. So
the Gladiators from California.
After that, we have the Revolution Extreme magazine. We have Luther, who's upset that he's a conspiracy victim based on the 1,000 people it took to beat him this cycle with all the run-ins. We have a picture of Gary Spivey, and he's the answers to RX problems. And then we see the Teamster. He does hate America, so bless his heart. And I love Don Cornudo. And in addition to that, we do have an ad for Johnny Revolution's Halfway House for girls who won't go all the way. She is taking out 10% of everyone's salary to donate to this worthy work. So
it's a good charity.
It is a good charity. It's fantastic. So, Luke, what is some of the TT that you saw throughout the IWL? What is some of the stuff that you enjoyed?
I really like Omega Squadron.
They're really good.
They always kind of in the midst of things, and they're always around. So, we try to, I think, keep the IWL kind of running like a normal wrestling organization. So, the Chameleon.
So not to cut you off, I want to explain to everyone what that is exactly and what you mean by that. The IWL is a really basic wrestling promotion, right? It's Mid-South wrestling, kind of mixed in with a little bit of Methodist, right? So the organization itself is the straight man. It's the personalities within the league that makes it ridiculous. But the league itself, the federation, is not necessarily babyface or heel. And the league itself doesn't put wrestlers in ridiculous positions. The wrestlers put themselves in ridiculous situations. You can continue.
Okay, thank you. We're all. By the way, if you didn't know, you hadn't been in the IWL or you haven't been paying attention, the IWL is owned by a separate organization, International Wrestling. So if you read in TT anybody referencing that, or if anyone would like to reference that in the future, be aware that Sam Solee may be the commissioner, but she is not the overarching authority for this league. So anyway,
the Teamster.
Fuck that old. He owes me a tag title from the NWL. He should stay fucking retired. Anyway, so Chameleon, they always do a very good job. So when I say that,
I like Chameleon's TT because he referenced the sneak attack him the cycle before, where he was in a fertility clinic. And he gets beat up by members of Revolution Extreme, and specimen gets spilled all over him while he's in the fraternity clinic. So he made references to that. He did a lot of innuendos and puns, but I thought it was fun.
So yeah. So again, since we're offering little nuggets of TT knowledge, since Matt refuses to record a TT how-to, it's your fault. They do a good job because Chameleon is always referencing. So part of this, the play style and the IWAR is world building. So the Chameleon, the Patriot, and the Christian Warrior, and even the Graces, everybody kind of feeds into that. So they reference things. So if you take things, if you see your name in a TT, it helps to reference that, so you don't exist in a bubble, because we want everything to kind of be a part of a narrative. So if we were, if this was the WWE or AEW or whatever, Chameleon would be of this stable Omega Squadron. He would be like the main event guy, and then you'd have American Patriot and then Christian Warrior, and they're kind of upper mid card to mid card depending, but they all feel their roles very well, and they all target people appropriately. So we have Christian Warrior targeting Alexander J. Styles, and we have Chameleon going after Luther Alexander. So Patriot has dealt with Neo Dragon in the past. So I mean, they're very good about building that world. So that's what we try to do, and we want everybody. The reason that we TT, other than the fact that I guess we like hearing ourselves talk or type, I guess, it helps build a world, and it makes everybody feel like this is kind of like an organization. There's the things that happen don't happen in a vacuum. So Omega Squadron always does a good job about building the IWL, because all the IWL is our collective efforts to do so. And Alex Styles as well continues to do well with that. He continues to build up those feuds, and as a member of RX, he's the junior member of RX, so he's obviously going out and starting shit because he's got our backing, or the backing of RX. So he's always does a good job. He's always building himself up. And I think too that when you're a young player and you're once you leave the NWL, it's important to try to work with a veteran or get somebody there that can kind of help move you along while you're figuring out the game, because it definitely gets more competitive. And even though you have a lot of resources, like you have the Matt's strategy workshop, that's super. Like, I mean, even if you think he's full of shit, I mean, just having the fact that like somebody that will talk to you about strats and how to develop them and a whole web series on that, I mean, that's your leaps and bounds ahead of where things used to be when we had to ask questions on message boards. So, but if you're in a new league, he did a good job of developing his character, and while he's growing within the league, so he has a place. He can still have a storyline while he's learning how to adjust to maybe a more competitive league. And also, it can be difficult when you move out of the NWL, because it can be kind of discouraging, especially if you're in the NWL and you're like killing it, right? You're winning league and titles and stuff like that all the time. And then you get to the IWL or like the BRL or whatever, CWL.
BRL especially.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're not winning these titles, you're not on the title page, it can get kind of frustrating. But
that's why the TT is key. The TT will keep you invested in what you're doing, and then invested in feuds. You may not be doing that great on the front page. May not be winning league titles or TV titles or even regionals, but you're more invested in, hey, my feud with someone else that's leading to this pay-per-view. And that's more important than any titles. That is correct. Let's talk about your new favorite wrestler, White Boy.
Yeah, White Boy. Let's not talk about that at all.
He's a catchphrase, which is "I'm white."
Yeah, let's not talk. Let's not talk about him ever. The Unusual Heroes came in. Just wanted to highlight them.
The Unsexual Heroes.
Yeah, them too. And then Velociraptor. Velociraptor is the number one wrestler right now in the IWL as far as overall. So he's doing really well. He's done well this whole year. He came in from the LWL, right?
I think so. Yeah, right?
Yeah. So he was drafted, right?
Yeah.
So we have the draft coming up. So Velociraptor is a product of the draft.
He won the draft contest. Is that correct, Matt?
He is the current Revolution champion.
And he's the current Revolution champion. So it's good to see him TTing again. Obviously, he mentions those things in here, but Velociraptors. Anytime he does TT, he's good to go, and he's definitely an active part of the IWL. I mean, as a matter of fact, anytime any of the IWL succeeds, we all succeed. So the fact that he's getting on the the IWA title page and getting it IWAR titles. He's definitely making everybody in the IWL and bringing eyes to the IWL, and that's always good because it makes it more competitive. And then also Jordan Drake. Not only did he win the league title, but he's just doing great overall. His TT that he does with the Gentlemen's Club is always good. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Jordan Drake. And also, I don't know who's doing this heel lucha stuff, but I really like it. It's really good. The more that we realize who Senior Lucha really is, the better I think that we'll all be. And also, if you don't know about Brad Blaze, you'll find out more about him. Mr. Blaze, referenced in this Neo Dragon TT, but there's more to come with that. You'll find out a little bit how that ties into some
He's
other
not
things.
dead? I thought he died.
Oh, we'll see. So there's a reason that
I heard a rumor that he does flea markets and he gets 8x10s for 99 cents and he signs them.
I mean, we'll talk about that, but that like I said, that
I
McDonald's.
think we have a Mr. Blaze match on the YouTube page, by the way. So you guys can check it out. Yeah, we do.
Anyway, so, but yeah, overall, everybody in IWL does well. Like, again, if we don't mention you, it's not because your TT sucks. It's just because we don't always want to harp on the same people, even if it seems like we do. But everybody we contributes, we obviously appreciate. And again, thanks for everybody for submitting their matches because this was a really good pay-per-view. So especially like the Three Birds, they're killing it in the as far as like tag team champions and all that, and they always do a good job. So
there's a funny spot in that match which is inspired by Matt in general. So if you go back and read that, it's inspired by him getting caught up in the ring ropes.
I heard about Matt's actual wrestling career, or just like Matt in general.
Well, Matt in general.
Okay. That's all. That's all that I got.
All right, man. Fantastic. And next up, NWL New Wave League number 152 League Champion Hawaiian Heartthrob, TV Champion Mr. 305, Atlantic Champion Trubby Love, Central Champion Black Death, Dixie Champion Paradise John Thunderstorm. Is Paradise spelled incorrectly?
It's part of the gimmick.
Okay. Eastern Champion Night Robin, Mountain Champion Mr. Too Sexy John Van Love, Northern Champion Rideshare Ryan, Pacific Champion Wildfire Dan Van Love, Prairie Champion Hillbilly Steve, Northern Champion Tormon Tundra, Western Champion Big Guns Greg Gennard. What does PAD stand for?
What?
PAD, P-A-D. What does that stand for?
Oh, Pain and Destruction.
Oh, I thought it was like Maxi Pad or something. Tag Team Champions Torch and Inferno, TV Tag Team Champions Big Guns Greg Gennard and Hawaiian Heartthrob. Six-Man Champions Torch, Inferno, and Glacier. TV Six-Man Champion Hillbilly Kevin, Hillbilly Steve, and Uncle Randy. Battle Royal winner Black Death. So Matt, what's going down in NWL, man?
Well, there's a lot going down, and I'll start off by saying this coming cycle, the issue of the Clash Champions 14 is loaded, and I won't give anything away. Some of the players know because I sent out the results early to get them jazzed up. And as a personal note for rookie players, I actually find it works better to while the Strike with Iron is hot, so write your promos like a few days after the bulletin gets there, or you get to see the results. The Willowick Classic went down, and it came down to a final of Big Guns Greg Gennard versus Mr. 305. And in an upset, Mr. 305 defeated Big Guns Greg Gennard. So it was good for him, and he put himself into the as a third person in the main event at Clash Champions, which is the Young Lions triple threat match with Tyler Dresden, the champion, defending against Mr. 305 and Air B&B, Brian Nathaniel Burton. So that'll be going down. You'll see all the results from those matches and more in this next issue coming out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let me see here. I think because we have a special guest, we should let a special guest chime in and give us some feedback. So this is Michael Miles, and I want to welcome you to the show. Joining us. This is the first person to ever say, like, hey, can I be on the show? And like, yep. So what are your thoughts on the NWL?
Well, I was telling before the recording, I was telling the other guys leaps and bounds ahead of where it was the last couple times I was in. I enjoy the Wilwick Classic and a lot of pay-per-view write-ups. There's a lot of good PT in this league. Keeps me interested.
Do you want to tell us who you manage and how those characters came to be?
Absolutely. I manage a Love Connection, Love Burger, Chubby Love, Massive Love. Love Burger is actually a nickname of a friend of mine who kind of a downer, but he's no longer with us. And I thought, hey, I'm bored. Love Burger would be a great name for a wrestler, so I kind of write him exactly the way that guy was. Chubby Love's kind of patterned after my personality. He's a little meaner than the other two, but he's still funny, likes to play pranks. And Massive's just a big old teddy bear that likes to poop and stuff.
I think we'll associate to that one or relate to that. Let me just back up a second. You said you mentioned previous times. Tell us about your own experience in the IWA. How did you first discover it, like when you were younger, and how did you get back to it?
Well, I'm pretty damn old. I just hit 40 this year. So back in the early 90s, I actually got out of a wrestling magazine. Took my money, bugged my mother, said, hey, write me a check to this IWA. Here's some money. And you could tell it was the early 90s. My first wrestler's name was MC Sledgehammer.
I love it.
Wasn't very good. Didn't know what I was doing. There was another stop real quick, but when in my early 20s, which is still a long time ago, managed a couple of wrestlers and had a little bit more success, won some leagues. I can't even remember the name of that league. I know my first league in the early 90s was the Bull Elephant League, and can't remember the last couple of stops, but one of my more successful wrestlers, Gower, actually Imaginania 25. I was telling you about this, Matt, because you told me you had a wrestler that captured a belt there, but I was one of the 25 winners. Took home a title belt. It's actually still sitting with my trophies in the man cave.
All right. Well, that's always fun to hear how people, one, discover the IWA, and then two, if they came back, what got them back into it. And I always think it's interesting to see how much the game, for as much of it has stayed the same, how much it has changed externally. So I'm glad you came back and having fun.
Not for nothing, guys. This is basically the only thing that has remained unchanged since 1985. Don't you think about that? Look at how the world has changed. Look at the way entertainment has changed. Look at the way wrestling has changed. This game started like before WrestleMania 1, from what I understand. It's insane. Completely insane. And it's kind of the last bastion of nostalgia that's still up and going and running, that it's still here with us. It's amazing.
I'm the same age as this game, so I was born in 1985. Actually, maybe slightly older than me. It has literally my entire life. Yeah, I didn't know.
I'm sorry.
Well, I've noticed in the NWL locker room that a lot of the other wrestlers, some of them, not a lot of them, sorry, some of them will only do the mail stuff. They don't look at it online. They wait till they get their packet. I'm kind of an information whore, so as soon as it's online, I'm going through it anyway. But I've noticed some of them, for nostalgia purposes, that's what they do. They wait for the mail.
Oh, I got to tell you, I thought about the other day is the one thing I missed about the IWA was that feeling of not knowing. Go into your mailbox, you pop it open, and there's the packet. And you're like, and then you gotta, rip it open, pull it out, and see what the results were. And I missed that feeling because that was so fun. But now we get to do F5, refresh, or I get a text from one of the players going, "Do you believe what happened?" I'm like, "Oh shit, gotta find out real quick."
Hey, Matt, you have all your bulletins basically, right? For at least this last run, right?
I have all the bulletins since like the IWAR League, all the bulletins since 2011, or when they started up. So like I have every
Yeah.
IWL bulletin.
It'd be a hell of a project to scan those back up and have them available.
Oh my God. Well, one day when I'm wealthy, I'll hire somebody from like a third world country to do it for me. Like 'cause-
That's the way to do it, Matt.
and overseas. But,
Either that, you just scan them. You start at the first one, and you scan a new batch of bulletins every cycle. That's it.
I'm already, consequently, I'm already working on something behind the scenes for the CWL. If you've been to the IWAR library page on the Google Doc, I have like the history of the BRL titles, NWL titles. I'm adding the CWL titles next, and then it'll be IWL. So we'll have eventually all of the IWAR League
Yeah, just get in
results.
contact with Ryan. He has the champions. I don't track that.
I have all the bulletins, so I can just go through. But getting back to NWL, I would like to ask Mike. So, when you first got back, what were the characters that stood out to you for? What wrestlers were jumped out of the page at you?
Well, the ones that jumped out the most, and I tried to feud with them, were Slaughterhouse, but unfortunately, they seem to have gone dark. Immediately picked up on the fact he used Kiefer Sutherland's character from Lost Boys. Immediately called him. Hey, I told him that it's 1987. Called. They want their look back. Get a new avatar. But unfortunately, they didn't. But other guys that jump out though, like Pain and Destruction, the Pharmacist, Big Guns, Greg Garner, Tyler Dresden always has some great smack talk. I love to hate on Mr. 305. I mean, that guy's a dick, but in a good way. I enjoy smack talk. I enjoy the fact that he's called my guys overgrown kids and orangutans and apes. I always enjoy that. Super Bombero, he writes some good stuff. I'm gonna miss Fiction. I feel a little stupid because I was trying to figure out his name until you said it during an IWAR cast. Like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. It's Fiction. Got it. Okay. I'm kind of stupid.
No, it happens every so often where a character a wrestler has a name, and you're like, oh, and you read it a second time, you're like, oh, I remember somebody to get back at me made a bunch of wrestlers with my names backward, like different spellings, and Scott actually noticed and was like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, because there's always some stupid shit like that. Not as much anymore, but for a while. But it is interesting. The naming conventions. I always feel that a good name is a great start, but it can't be the end of it. I know some guys that kind of have a good name and. I've talked before on the show about our future soon-to-be-done trash talk episodes, and the idea of evolving your character. So feuds are a great way to do that. So I know I'm looking forward to seeing what Love Connection does next. No spoilers, but there's some major hijinks coming up at the Clash. And what I've been doing behind the scenes is I've been connecting a lot of the players with each other and saying, hey, I think this person is a really good promo writer. This other person's a good promo writer. I think you guys should work a feud and see what gets going, because usually it can be a lot of fun, number one, but two, the only danger is sometimes somebody who's not as strong a promo writer will feel intimidated because like some guy puts out a whole page and you're like, wow, it's great, and then the guy has 3 lines. You're like, oh, okay.
Some of the most effective TT has been 4 lines.
Yeah, but I'll say those 3 lines can be great and effective. But some guys feel like, oh, I have to compete, and it's like, no, it's like what you say with that paragraph can just be as powerful. What's that?
Just move the story forward. That's what
right.
the guys.
I remember in Real Wrestling years ago when Bob Backlund was back and he was doing the crazy shit, and he did a promo where he whispered, and I remember my friends were all watching it, and everyone got quiet to listen, and it was just a really powerful device of you don't have to scream and holler. So similar, you don't have to write a huge page-long thing. I know I'm guilty of that most of the time, but the NWL is a lot of fun. If you're in there and you're new, I always ask people to contact me. Good example, Jocelyn contacted me earlier today. He runs the Uninvited group, and I'm trying to pair up. And one thing I try to do with a lot of the players now, because what happens is I've noticed that we'll have a feud, right? But that feud goes way too long. And so they're still feuding after 10 cycles. And I want to get more people in the mix, so I'm trying to get it so that if you're in 2 pay-per-views together, you probably shouldn't have a third, unless it's the epic feud. but that's 9 cycles. That's a long time. So I'm trying to get more people involved in the mix. And as always, I always ask players, let me know what helps. We are doing the workshop this Sunday. I'll talk about it in a little bit. And I always invite the players to get involved. It's a live, video. If this is your first Tubecast, this is a live Zoom presentation where I go through and show how I break down the numbers.
And you don't wear any pants.
I'm not wearing pants now, so why would I?
There you go.
Hashtag shorts.
And
Shorts,
option.
not
Come on.
hashtag shorts, not jorts. So yeah, I would just want to thank everybody for playing NWL. Really appreciate it. And I will say that going forward, I'm trying to put a couple of things in place to make it a little more fun. So hopefully that'll work out for everybody. So anything, Mike, you think would stand out as far as your favorite part of the NWL? As apart from the wrestlers, anything you particularly enjoy?
Oh, well, I like the NWL Superstar page. The Clash of the Champions write-up, the Wilwick Classic, and a lot of the guys write some good trash talk.
Yeah, I always encourage people to write. I know some people feel nervous about it, so I offer to actually help people write their promos if they want to. Just send me the content. And for a while, one of the players was doing it, then just was like, okay, I got it now, and training wheels, go for it. And that's great.
Keep in mind, when I was in the NWL, no one said anything to me for 8 cycles.
They were smart.
I would write this TT. No one was saying anything to me at all. It was literally from March to December, and I try to do trash talk. I try to talk about these guys, and no one was acknowledging me. So sometimes it takes a while.
Hey, Mike.
Especially when you're awful like me.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, you said that you were reading some of the other leagues, like the shit leagues. Do you read the other leagues in the IWAR as well, or do you just stick to the NWL?
I try to. I can't say I remember too much, but I like to thumb through, see what's going on, see if anything catches my eye. For a while, I was reading just to see which league I might want to go to, and then I was like, "Hey, dummy, just enter the IWAR draft."
Yeah, that's the way it is. But yeah, I mean, like he's saying, check out some of the other, if you're in the NWL and you've been there for a little bit, check out some of the other leagues. Like he said, just see where the hell you want to go. See what maybe best suits your play style, or maybe where you feel like you can be useful, or because the worst thing you can do, because you're gonna have to graduate eventually, unless you try to sneak it by the mat or something. So
Like the Art Day Berserker deck,
yeah, that motherfucker. But just make sure that you're you look at some of the other leagues. It doesn't have to be the IWA. You can hit Matt or whoever up. And
there's a lot of
about
leagues out in bronze. You can go to the Bronze Age. They look really good right now. There's a lot of good leagues out there, for sure.
But look at those leagues and see maybe where you want to go, where you feel like you're going to fit best. Whatever you feel like your play style is, that kind of thing. It's all free to download. It's just a PDF. So, look at those things. You can enter the IWAR draft. That's always a dicey proposition. You could get drafted by the BRL or some shit. So you don't want to do that.
Nice.
But just again, the draft is fun. I've done the draft before, but at the same time, if you don't feel comfortable with that, just find a league that you enjoy and kind of look at the TT or look at the league and figure out where you want to be. Because like I said, we're trying to run. It's wrestling, so if you're a face and you look at a league and there's just a bunch of faces, maybe you don't go there unless you plan on turning heel. But if you're a heel and you find a league with a bunch of faces, well, oh shit. Or you find a league with a bunch of heels and no faces, well, plug yourself right in there, So, or hit people up. You can always hit up people on the IWAR page, say, hey, I'm looking at the IWL and that kind of thing. And you can if you're getting close to graduating or just want to ask questions. So I would just encourage people, don't just look at that NWL. Back in the day, it was a pain in the ass to try to get bulletins from other leagues. Now it's so easy.
You used to pay money back in the day. You had to pay $1.
Yeah. So
Oh, there's so much information available now, and I've been kind of nosy and looking through. But as long as the league's light on poop and fart jokes, and there's women for the love burger to hit on and go pound away in the locker room, I'll fit right in. I think anywhere.
All right, guys, fantastic. Next up, BBL number 485, league champion Joe Exotic, the King of the Tigers, TV champion, the legend Hasbro, Atlantic champion, the Patriot, Central champion, BA Fox, Dixie champion, the Living Nightmare Malax, Eastern champion, the Great Oni, which I believe is from Slam Masters, if I'm not mistaken, that name. Mountain champion, Lee Tigation, Northern champion, Blood Threat number 1. Pacific champion, Corporal Punishment. Prairie champion, Razor Ramon. Makes an appearance here. That's nice. Southern champions, the Honor Roll, Guilty as Hell. Western champion, War Pig. Tag team champions, B.A. Fox. And Joe Exotic, the King of the Tigers. TV tag team champions, the Disemboweler Mongrel and the Disemboweler Meat Hook. Six-man champions, Mr. Smith, Lady Swine, and Corporal Punishment. TV six-man champions, Blood Threat number 1, 2, and 3. And Battle Royal winner, Joe Exotic, the King of the Tigers. So Matt, what's going down in the BBL? You got any information for us there?
Well, I can't do as good a job as Derek will do, I'm sure. All right, so a lot going on. We are building towards New Blood Rising number 3, and our UVU heavyweight title. Almighty Sheik defends it against the Living Nightmare Malix. If it's Malix, I think it's Malix, right?
Yeah.
Sure. MTG and Big Tad defend the UVU tag team titles against the White Claw Outlaws. And then we have the UVU six-man tag titles. It's Mr. Smith, Lady Swine, and Corporal Punishment against a special scramble because the title was vacated when Chuckles, Serenity, and Manslaughter left.
Dick.
And and then we have a special prize battle royal, and other matches include Carson Wingate against Lee Tigation, Paralegal versus Willie Norton. We have Joe Exotic taking on Guilty as Hell. We have Blood Trap and Barnes taking on War Pig and Corporal Punishment. And if War Pig Punishment win, they get Nate Barnes in a no holds barred match, and other matches. So there's a lot going on that way. We had. Barry Stevens went to a toy factory and attacked the toy makers because they made a toy in his likeness, and those toys are plastics. They'll be around for 1,000 years. And, of course, the kid playing with the toy was using a Hasbro figure, and he was trying to count down Barry Stevens' action figure. He couldn't let that happen, which I think in the real world would be, I'd be angry if I was a guy and, I had a figure and kids were trying to, pin my figure. I'd be like, no way, dude. No, not happening. Let's see here. Other quick things going on in there. Dixon Ticonderoga, of course, always cutting a mean promo. I think what's good is the BBL is really starting to surge up with the volume of promos, so that makes a big difference. I always tell people all the time, your job as a commissioner is made 1,000 times easier when your players contribute the material because they're giving you content to work with. And I do know there are some players who just crank out a ton of content, and that's fine if you can do it. But it just makes my life easier as a commissioner knowing the players are out there putting in the work. So thanks to everyone for doing that. There's the BBL notice.
So Luke, any TT caught your eye in the BBL?
yeah, well, first of all, like Matt said, good job. Every time that we go into the BBL, we get more TT, and it keeps getting better. So good on you guys. So War Beast, first of all. I like what they have going on with Almighty Sheik and just their overall stable. Also, we have Carson Wingate. Really like Carson Wingate. He's definitely changed since his time back in the day. And, one of the things that you can do is kind of take current events or whatever and kind of weave it into what you're doing. So I really like what Carson Wingate's doing here. His whole kind of jaded, nihilistic, philosophical type premise. He's definitely evolved his character from where it started. So I really appreciate that. And then also we have Dresden. mostly because he talked about Des Moines, which is my hometown. And I will have you know that Chair Emporium is a fine place to shop for new and used furniture within the middle Iowa area. So, and then also White Claw Outlaws. I don't know what it is about the White Claw Outlaws, but they're just good. They're good at what they do. Their TT is good. You have litigators. Everybody that usually contributes is doing well. The BBL is definitely on the up and up. The commissioner has definitely put in the work to make the league successful, and the players are, cutting promos and do what they need to do. So I definitely like what I see from the BBL. What is UVU? What does that mean? Why? What is that? I have no idea. If I'm not.
Ultra Violent University.
Okay, so that's because there used to be a hardcore league. I'm assuming, is that what the BBL?
Yeah, the BBL has always been a hardcore type league, bloodbath league.
Right.
Like a CZW.
Right. Yeah, and I know again, Derek can do a better job explaining than I can, but the whole storyline is that the Sheik was in a power struggle last year, and he won the rights to own the league, so he's kind of in charge. So
good for him.
It's his show.
All right, next up, Continental Wrestling League number 255, the league champion, Gentleman Jarvis, TV champion, Big John Stone, United States champion, Brandon the Berserker Bomb, Yukon champion, Trash Can Jones, Korean champion, Alex Schnapp, Amazon Basin champion, the Russophobian Russian Ozad Azuoff. Sounds good to me. British Isles champion, Mike freaking Mason, Arabian champion, Terrible Thomas Perez, South African champion, Matthew Zawapowski, Siberian champion, Donathan Zawapowski, East Asian champion, the wrestler with no name, Oceanic champion, Unleavened Bread, Tag team champions, Donathan Zawapowski and Kenneth Zawapowski, TV tag team champions, James and Billy Stone, six-man champions winning 5 free matches, Unleavened Bread, Alabaster, and wrestler with no name, TV six-man champion, Johnny the Wretch Morello, Vincent Torrio, and Mike freaking Mason, Battle Royal winner, Trash Can Jones. So, Matt, do you have any announcements for the CWL?
We sure do.
Okay.
So, as many of you know, Michael Swanson stepped down as the commissioner of the CWL, and this past cycle was his last cycle. And I should also note, quick little, he has retired Mike freaking Mason from the CWL with 2,000 wins. So he called it a career with Mike Mason.
Officially retired?
He's retired. As of this Idlebury report that just came out today or Tuesday. So yes, Mike freaking Mason has retired, and I don't know what he's going to do with the syndicate yet. That's still up in the air. But CWL wise, this coming cycle, August 18th, there's going to be a very special announcement regarding the future of the CWL and the rollout of the new commissionership and some of the changes coming to the league as a whole. It's going to be different. There's a lot of work going on behind the scenes right now with myself and the other person who's being the commissioner. And I think it's going to be really fun. There's a lot of work going the pre-show, if you will. So you'll see some big announcement this coming issue. But going forward, you're going to see some fun. So I don't want to give too much away. I just know that the CWL is going to be in good hands, and it's going to be a little bit different, but it's going to be fun. So we'll see how that works.
All right, man. I dig that. Luke, any TT that caught your eye in the CWL?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. My mic was put up, man. I got really excited. All right. Monster Truck Tanaka, the Continental Champion. The MV motherfucking P of CWL, other than wrestler with no name, Monster Truck Tanaka. Always puts in TT, always puts in the work. Glad to see that he's the Continental Champion. He deserves it, 100%. It's always good to see somebody step out and take, man, I'm fucking beating dead horse. But if these are all wrestling organizations, there always has to be a top guy. And you got to have a top guy that's active and all this other stuff, right? All this other shit. So if you're in the IWL, you have that shit bag Ollie Atari, who just fucking won't go away. So but for all his shortcomings, he is active, right? If you can call his shit active. So, you just have to have somebody that's going to be. The wrestler with no name did a good job, but Masahiro Tanaka has been working hard. It's always good to see somebody that works hard get their just desserts. So I'm glad to see him take the Continental Championship, and also glad to see CT. It's nice to see Fiction and Soldier Boy come in to the CWL. I think that it's going to be great for the CWL to have somebody that dynamic come in to the league, and I just hope that Fiction can find his groove, find a good feud or something, and get going where he left off in the NWL. And then also the gentlemen, they're just weird, and I like that. So continue to be weird and continue to do what you're doing. But yeah, the CWL, I know you're doing through commissioner change, but you guys definitely took that in stride and continue to produce a good job. So that's all I got for the CWL. But before I leave, what in the fuck is the UW pay-per-view? Does anyone know what that is? Because I don't know.
That's Big Bad Bob, baby.
That's Big Bad Bob, and Bob, he writes his own little kind of universe with his wrestler. Yeah, he's one of the guys. He's not on Facebook, so he's not easy to get a hold of. But as part of the project of reaching out to players, we're working on getting players who are off the grid, so to speak. Because I always feel that there's a lot more players who people don't realize are off the grid than they think. But yeah, he runs his own little pay-per-views and shows, and he has his own championship. Mazel Truck Tanaka actually crashed one of them, so that was fun.
Because he's pulling he's crowning himself. He made himself the world heavyweight champion. I don't like that. That's stupid. It doesn't make any sense.
Sometimes
Is that
players.
politics? I'm
Say
going to
again?
crown myself world heavyweight champion right now, guys. You're my
Do it.
witnesses.
Good job. You good? I believe it. Congratulations. You're the
Kyle,
Love Connection
just
heavyweight
count.
champion.
Does anyone remember the last time someone tried to do that in one of my leagues? And what happened to them?
Yeah, I
Yes.
do.
Yes, we do. Don't let that happen to you guys.
Yeah, but if this actually gets put on, we're not trying to be mean, but when you do stuff like this, it doesn't. It confuses people, like it did me, and also it doesn't mean anything. You're awarding yourself nothing. It's not even like kayfabe. It doesn't even make any sense, because you're not. You're not competing with anyone. You're just writing a narrative. You might as well just create a blog and write about it, essentially. So
Hey, you know what? At
please
least he's not writing about baseball, so that's good.
I don't want to hear about that. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know if this will make it in, but please, what the fuck? All right. Anyway, all right. That's
All right, guys. Next up, Battle Royal League number 555. League champion Becky North, TV champion Buster Stonewell, Atlanta champion Barb Dwyer, Central champion Superstar Chris Champion, Dixie champion Severus, Eastern champions Alator, Alator. I'm gonna go with Alator. Mountain champion Fenris, Northern champion The President, Pacific champion Punk Rock Mike, Prairie champion El Barbaro, Southern champion Talak, Western champion Headhunter number 2, Tag team champions Late Night Logan Kane and Handsome Hollywood Star tag team champions El Barbaro and El Dragon de Oro, 6-man champions Lord Regal, Martel Amato, and Zolf Diggler. TV 6-man champions Talak, Alalura, and Zoo. And your Battle Royal winner, winning $50 in IWA credit, Barb Dwyer. So, Matt, what's going down in the BRL?
Oh, there's a lot going on. As I mentioned before, this is a cycle where this coming cycle is the results of the Magibash pay-per-view. Huge matchups. The Global Championship with Paige Turner defending against Punk Rock Mike, the A-listers defending against Blood Money, and Arrogance defending against Negro Mascara's team. Lots going on. And again, I mentioned, we're trying to use this pay-per-view to spin it and to grow into the next one. So it's there's a lot to work with. I mentioned earlier, like Mike, you still there?
Yeah, I'm
All
listening.
right. Have you ever looked at the BRL?
A little bit, yeah. Battle
Yeah.
Royale.
I know it's a lot to
know,
take in. People say to me like it overwhelms them with so much TT, and that's good. But what I've always tell people is keep in mind that all that stuff and the double pages repeats. I don't know why they happen sometimes. They repeat the promos. But if people have asked me if it's okay to do a promo in a league they're not in, like could you do a promo where your guy comes out and challenges somebody? So I was asked if I had played it recently, so I want to mention it because they were saying like there was something in the BRL they wanted to call out, and not necessarily a bad thing, but the only people that can sign interleague matches, at least according to Idaway last I checked, were commissioners. So if you wanted to have a interleague feud with somebody, the first step would be make sure the other person knows who you are and that they want to do it.
Yeah, that would help. That would help.
We've seen that a number of times, particularly a situation earlier in the year where a player was sending in promos, just cutting up somebody that had no idea who they were, why they were going after them, and no interest in being in the feud with them at all. And I always say it's kind of like, no means no. Like if someone says they don't want to work with you, don't just leave them alone. Move on to somebody new. If you want to work a feud with somebody else outside your league, there better be a damn good reason for it. Because first of all, just work with your own league first. It makes it easier. But BRL, we have a lot going on. As a reminder, the winners of the monthly battle royal are put into a pool, and we have a Royal Rumble match in January. Now, it's a male Royal Rumble because there might be a female, not to give a spoiler alert, might be a female Royal Rumble coming up at around the same time. So if that happens, obviously that's going to be stocked with the female competitor division and we'll have a male division. So what I've been doing is if a female wrestler wins the Battle Royal, it's happened twice this year, the next highest finishing wrestler who promos regularly will be the one to get the nod. So Patrick O'Malley got the nod this time. And it was actually like 6 wrestlers ahead of him who did not promo. So keeping things fair. But anyways, we got a lot going on. It's just building from a Magic Bash, we roll into Autumn Anarchy, and then Autumn Anarchy becomes Battlecade, and Battlecade becomes Royal Rumble. So it happens faster than you think. I'm like, I'll talk about later about the IWire draft stuff and War Games. Just things all of a sudden happen. But BRL wise, lots of promos going on, a lot of good feuds. The Harlem, Hamilton, Sheldon Shroot feud's a little out of control, but that's good. We don't mind that. I like when players get that. And R.A. Rude came back, was active again. So, Luke, what did you notice when you were taking a look?
Well, first of all, I noticed Jan Sobieski III because he talked about Ruthenia. Does anyone know what rare or what Ruthenia is?
Do not.
Venereal disease?
No. Yeah. So anyway, it may be a venereal disease, but yeah. So he used Ruthenia in a TT. So that's a Google for the kids. But yeah, his
waffle.
No, it's like I don't want to explain it, but it's a old area of Europe dominated by Slavs that covers like multiple countries. But it's not all just Slavs. But again, it's a Google. All right. Anyway, but he was smart. That. See, he's Sobieski is a Polish name. Ruthenia, part of Ruthenia. Okay. Anyway, never mind. No, fuck you guys. All right. So R.A. Rude is back. So that's cool to see him. Glad he is back. Miss Truth. Black Arrow Vengeance. Is that the same person that runs Fiction? It looks like
Miss Truth, yes.
Yeah, okay. So good on her. She a good TT. Well, he did a good TT. And then Smirnoff and Scarlett continue to do well. And then Norval Austin.
I love Norval Austin.
Yeah, but it made me feel like I was in the 70s. Like, you know how the 70s everything was brown? You know, like just a weird, like, I guess not even brown, like burnt orange.
Yes.
Burnt orange. Like if burnt orange had a taste, it'd be Norval Austin. That's how I felt about that.
Okay.
But yeah, I like to again. If you can, I know everybody's not like computer savvy and all that, but if you can put some pictures on the thing, it's better for you. It draws attention to it. Also, I want to give a shout out to everybody that put some sort of distinguishing title or something in their TT, so I could tell, like, who was TTing across all leagues. Again, just one reminder: put something in your TT, like a header, like you would on, your ninth grade book report, so I can see who is TTing. Especially if you're doing like a sneak attack or something, because a lot of times it's very difficult to do that. Though definitely the BRL does a good job of that. But yeah, you guys have a lot of TT in the BRL, so it's definitely important to have a header of some kind, so I can kind of break it up. Because if you don't, I might think that four different people's TT is one TT and be really confused. So, but overall, the BRL continues to do well, and it's a very competitive league in every way, shape, and form. I would say that it is the flagship league of the IWAR.
I think that's fair.
So it's definitely the oldest league in the IWAR. So yeah, so good job to the BRL. Though last time I thought the BRL had better TT than the IWL, but with the pay-per-view, it's kind of hard to compare at this point. So I'm really gonna feel like the IWL definitely had a great pay-per-view. But yeah, man, just everybody, all leagues, everybody stepped it up, this month. Although I was sad, I didn't mention this in the NWL, but I didn't see anything from Tyler Dresden, so that made me sad.
Oh, he's in
Yeah,
there.
he was in there. He was in there.
He just didn't
Right.
do his usual flashy setup.
No. There you go. I didn't see no pictures, so I didn't even know. I don't read words good, so yeah, that's good to go. But yeah, man, good job, BRL. I'm done.
All right, man. Fantastic. And Matt, do you have anything IWAR wide?
Well, I want to talk about the women's report. Becky has been fastidiously on top of it, working it through and getting it going. The Queen of the Ring pay-per-view is coming up on September 8th, so the matches are being played this coming cycle. The opening match is Wildfire Betty Red versus Lady Swine. That's Lady Swine from BBL, Betty Red from BRL. Beautiful Brittany Massacre in the BRL versus Tia match from the IWL. We have a BRL only matchup of Lavender Fields against Gina Colada. We have Miss Truth versus Emily Endgame on the BRL matchup, and then we have the main event, the finals of the Queen of the Ring tournament, Barb Dwyer versus Becky North. So the winner gets a shot at the world champion, women's world champion, IWAR women's world champion, I should say. So that's coming up. So, I encourage everyone, if everyone in the IWAR made one female wrestler, just one, that would just blow up our division and be fantastic to get more women involved. So we just ask that people make women wrestlers that are more modern and less cringy.
This ain't Glow, motherfucker.
Oh, well, I wouldn't mind a Glow wrestler if it was done the right way, but maybe not Palestina. I loved her. I don't want to ruin her image.
On Twitter, I retweet some. There's this Twitter account that just posts Glow raps, which
I
retweet
love that.
constantly, which I retweet all the time. So check that out.
A fun fact, considering Glow raps, I had a date with someone, and on our first date, we were walking around the Esplanade in Boston, and she sang word for word the the Glow opening theme song.
Nice.
And I didn't marry her, but she's in the rotation.
I was gonna say, you didn't marry that girl? Like, I thought that was like was it.
She's not in this area anymore, but she's like in college. I had a friend of mine who used to talk about every guy should have a starting rotation. Like, your number one pick is like your first starter is your ultimate, like, now if you're married, of course, you don't have to worry about that, but you could have like your, what they call the hall pass or cheat card. You get one. But yeah, she's
get 5.
Honey, Your sister was on the 5 list. It's a show of respect. So now to kind of talk about some IWAR stuff. So first, I want to. We don't really do enough of this. I want to take moves. Is recognize who our IWAR world champions are. So Joe Boring from the IWL is our IWAR world champion, and he has had that belt. Feels like forever. It's been a while. He won it last September, so almost a year. So Joe Boring really holding rank with that. We have Velociraptor as our IWAR Revolution champion, and I'll back up. The way we figure out who challenges for the IWAR World Champion is the 4 commissioner champions from each of the IWAR leagues have a 4-way match, and whoever wins that will challenge the title next. And it'll be, one of the champions. So that's coming up soon. This cycle actually is going to determine it. So then we had the IWAR World Tag Team Championship. The A-listers, Late Night Logan Kane and Handsome Hollywood Star out of the BRL, defeated Jane the Vixen Red and Matthew Van Slaughter, who had the belts back since January. So new champions there. And then another championship switch. The Von Schnaups, who had just recently won the belts in March, were defeated by Alexei Smirnov, Jake Scarlett, and Max Ripley. So they have new IWAR 6-man champions. And I also believe that we had a change with the women's championship where Tiamat was defeated by Maura Lee Corrupt.
I dispute that decision, by the way.
Oh, is in dispute? Is Ray Blackburn or is Gene Tunney coming out?
No, I'm just sitting here being sad with myself.
0.33 margin. How is that even possible?
Oh, that's super close. Yeah, that is tough. So those are our champions. Now, other stuff going on IWAR wide. The War Games is coming up. Alex, do you want to touch on that?
Yeah, man, we got 10 teams in the War Games. Again, the winner of this event will get $50 in IWA credit. So the entire pool for this event will be divided up with the winning team. If you have all 5 wrestlers and they're all yours, you get the $50. If you have 5 guys on the team, you'll get $10 with IWA credit. So that's this cycle, correct?
Yes.
All right.
So no pressure, guys.
Don't mess up.
So in other news, this coming cycle is the deadline, August 18th, to join the fall events. The IWAR fall events include Bound for Glory for singles wrestlers, the Tag Team Derby for tag team wrestlers, and the Triple D Cup 6-man tournament for trios wrestlers. And it is $2 per entry and 3 entries max per event. So you can enter 3 wrestlers, 3 tag teams, 3 6-man teams, or you could just enter 1 if you'd like. Some people are doing that. And the way we're doing it this year a bit differently. Every year we change the format, it feels like, for these events. But this event, to make it easier on ourselves, with so much going on, what we're doing is going to be a Survivor format. And what happens is this. We have, let's say, and right now we have 59 wrestlers in the Bound for Glory listed right now. After the cycle plays out, the first round, the top half advance. All right, and whoever has the highest score wins 1/4 of the prize money, and what the buy-ins were. So the second round, whoever the high scorer is, wins another 1/4 of the money, and the top half move on. So it's the top half, and then the final 2 go head to head, and whoever scores the higher wins. So you could feasibly run the table and have the high score every cycle and just win all the prize money altogether. It could happen. For now, we're going to try that. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But those are the events there. This Sunday at 9 p.m., I'm doing the next August 16th, 9 p.m. on Zoom is our Gold Strategy Workshop. Give it a go. Give it a try. Chime in. Take part. It's fun. The Specialty Championships, IWA-wise, is coming up. It's entered this cycle, so you'll get the paperwork or see it online if you want to go with the IWA website and see the contest. It is the Specialty Championships. It looks like they're doing an entry, 2 entries for $1. So you get, they have a whole bunch of matches now. They added some more. I like Soul Survivor. Is that what the IWL runs? Is that Soul Survivor match?
Hell no. I'm not. They stole it?
They
Sell it.
they
Son of a
added
bitch.
matches including ambulance, elimination chamber, uh, Soul Survivor, which
Gimmick infringements.
the only Soul Survivor match I've ever heard of was the IWLs. I've never heard anywhere else. But that's coming up. And the last thing I want to talk about is a lot of questions have been coming up my way about the IWAR draft. And the IWAR draft is one of the most entertaining nights we have when it comes to the IWA. And what we do is we literally have a draft where wrestlers who have entered get put into a list, and that list of players get drafted by the league. So, for example, right now, round one, it's the IWL, then the CWL, and the BBL, and the BRL. So if the IWL wants to draft first, they can pick, or they want to trade down, they can do that. But right now, the players who have declared are as follows. Fiction, Nick Bloodtrap, Nate Moneyman Barnes, Big Guns, Greg Gannar, and the Pharmacist RX Payne. I think they might not be official yet. They might be in the air. Super Bombero Jr., Bloodshot, Dixon Ticonderoga, Barry Stevens, Night Robin, Rosophobe, Russian Olevs Ozarov, Loveburger, Tyler Dresden, Bulk Slogan. And I'm still getting more feedback from people. The top question I get is, I just got one literally during the show. So how exactly does the draft work? Are all the potential leagues gold? How long are you committed to staying in a league? So the way we set up, it's a 6-cycle commitment. And the contest runs 6 cycles. So whoever scores the most points in those 6 cycles wins the draft contest, and they get a shot at the IWAR Revolution Championship. And last time, the Velociraptor won it, and he then went on to win the IWAR Revolution Championship. So it's a really fun event. When behind the scenes, how it works is like this. A week before the draft night, we have the draft live on in this Skype column here, if you will, and we do all the drafting and we make the trades, everything else. And then what I do is I take those results and I package it all up in a presentation that we unveil live on the Facebook network page. It's a really fun thing, and we put a lot of work.
It's literally the funnest thing we do.
Yeah, and it's hysterical. The trades that happen. A couple of questions were, one was this is a basic one we get most of the time. If I want to enter more than one wrestler into the draft, do I have to go to each league? If they don't get drafted together, do I have to go to those leagues? And it's yes. If you want to be with one wrestler, and let's say you have 3 wrestlers, okay, but you want to just go to one league, just enter one wrestler, and then whoever drafts that wrestler, just go to that league and bring all your guys with them. Otherwise, if you had a tag team, if you had Shawn Michaels, Mario Jannetty, and Jannetty gets drafted to IWL because that's where he
kills a guy.
And kills a guy.
Behind a bowling alley.
Makes them, quote, disappear. And then Shawn Michaels ends up in the BBL. Well, they got split up. But if you don't want that to happen, just enter one wrestler. It's only a 6-cycle commitment. The other question we get is, can guys outside of the IWAR join? Yeah, if you can create a new wrestler, you can come in from a different league, outside the Gold Fed. But once January hits, you're expected to be there. And we've had players in the past who have kind of shit on the fun by A, no showing once they got drafted, or B, leaving a cycle later, because it's a two-sided thing. It's an event to kind of get some new blood into our league, so it's good for the commissioners, and it's good for the players. You get to try it out, and if you don't like it, 6 cycles later, jump ship, go to someplace else. That's totally cool. But it's just a little fun thing we do. We put a lot of work into it. I do a draft preview issue, and this is why I'm trying to push people to let me know if they're going to be in it. What I do is take all the entries I get from people. I get pictures, I get stats, I get their results, so they're titles won, and I put a draft preview issue together. And the preview issue is a lot of fun. And I'm going to try something different this year. I've been reading some fantasy football magazines, so I'm going to try to do a little bit of a spin. And things like best trash talker, best strategy average, best title champion. So it kind of ranks people in certain categories, so you can see how your guys stack up against other potential draftees. So I'm a numbers nerd, so it'll work for me. But even this morning, I got another guy who committed. So we're working to get more people involved. And yes, if you want to just create a wrestler to be in the draft, that's totally cool. Just let me know what their image is, and we'll go from there.
All right, fantastic. So, guys, any parting words, any parting shots before we wrap up this cycle's Tubecast?
It's here! whack. His gear, whack. His jewelry, whack. His foot stance, whack. The way that he talks, whack. The way that he doesn't even like to smile, whack. Me, I'm tight as fuck.
Nothing? Really?
Well, I'll say a quick
Don't do drugs?
congratulations. I should mention this. I don't think we talked. Winner of the 7th Johnny B Cup, Timothy Zastampowski beat Algebra Jones. Tim Clark becomes the first manager to win 2 Johnny B Cups, and he won them in back-to-back years.
Ooh.
So good on him. I'll be working on getting a trophy to him, as we always do.
Impressive.
Yep.
All right. Fantastic.
Well, let's ask
Oh,
Michael.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
How did you feel doing your first Tubecast?
It was a lot of fun. Thank you guys for letting me take part. Hope for another opportunity. Anytime you want me back, just go ahead and ask. And I had a lot of fun.
All right, man. I dig it, man. It's awesome. All right, guys. So we are officially out of time. So for Luke Martin, for Mike Miles, for Matt Riley, I'm Alex G. Have a good night.